There are lots of voices in the race for U.S. Senate. We are joined today by a young Republican who says he can change the conversation and the results in Washington. Brian Cahill is here. Speaking of candidates, they are courting the Latino vote in Connecticut and nationwide. We're going to talk about which issues matter most to the Latino community and how the bloc decides elections. Also, Black and Puerto Rican caucus members are taking a stand on education reform, floating their own ideas of what needs to be included as Connecticut lawmakers seek to help close the state's achievement gap. Welcome to The Real Story. I'm Lori Perez. Up first, we have a conversation with a young candidate who's been getting a lot of attention in a race that many thought would be dominated by some well-known heavy hitters. Along with Linda McMahon, Chris Shays, Peter Lamage, and Kai Westby, our guest Brian Cahill is running as a Republican for the seat to be vacated soon by Senator Lieberman. Brian is an attorney. He's a military veteran, a product of Windsor and Southern Connecticut State University. He got his law degree from Howard. Brian, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Lori.
And I really did not give your resume justice there because it's very impressive. I mean, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Well, first of all, I was born and raised in Windsor, Connecticut. I proudly went through Windsor Public School System and on to Southern Connecticut State University in New Haven, Connecticut. I'm a graduate of Howard Law School in Washington, D.C. Upon graduation from law school, I joined the military and became an active duty Judge Advocate General Corps attorney with the United States Navy. I did that for 6 straight years, from 1998 to 2004. In 2004, I transferred from the Navy to the United States Army and became an active duty Judge Advocate General Corps attorney with the Army.
And you were all over, right?
Yes, I've been deployed around the world. I've lived overseas. I've lived in 8 different states, practiced a variety of fields of law, including being a prosecuting attorney, an international law attorney, an administrative law attorney, federal contract law attorney, fiscal law attorney. I've been a staff judge advocate, which is like an in-house attorney for installation or command, and I've been it for both. So I got a pretty diverse legal background. Yeah,
I should say. So what was, I don't know, as a JAG officer, what was the most challenging case that you worked on? Or?
Oh, God. The child molestation cases were the toughest to work on. How any adult could formulate the thought in their mind to intentionally harm a child is beyond me, but you have cases like that even in the military as well as civilian side. So.
And as a civilian with your own practice now, you concentrate on?
It's a general law practice where we help families and small businesses navigate this bureaucratic maze we have here in Connecticut. So I do personal injury, I do business law, I do family law, real estate law, and a little bit of criminal law.
So tell me why you decided to get right into it all. I mean, not even, you know, locally or on the state level, but nationally.
Well, our problem is at the national level. We have a dysfunctional government. We got too many career politicians in office that I think are destroying this country. I cut my active duty career short after 12 years just to do what I'm doing now because I felt that strongly about the wrong direction that this country is taking. We have a military that's stretched too thin. These wars have been fought on the backs of military members and their families. And we need to give our military a break and start restructuring our force to make sure that we're prepared for emerging threats, for one thing. But in order to do that, we got to get our fiscal house in order. And we've got serious problems facing this country and its future. And so I cannot sit back and watch as a country that I love goes down in decay. And so I stepped up to the plate, tired of complaining. You know, people complain, but they don't do anything about it. So I decided to do my part.
Right, so we'll take your answer in 2 parts. First of all, you know, with keeping your military experience in mind, I'm curious as to what you think of, you know, President Obama addressed the nation the other day. He unveiled this new plan, new security plan in Afghanistan, and a new plan to get everybody out in 2.5 years. What's right and what's wrong about that plan?
Well, first of all, I think it's right to get out of Afghanistan. Everything that can be accomplished has been accomplished. Our presence there is counterproductive. We're creating more enemies than we are friends. I don't believe that the president should have announced a timetable for getting out of Afghanistan, but I think the idea of getting out of Afghanistan is a step in the right direction.
And you don't think he should have announced it for security reasons, or?
Exactly. You don't announce when you're going to go in, and you don't announce when you're going to come out. But, you know, we need to change course, and I give him credit for at least changing course and getting us out of Afghanistan.
Did you vote for President Obama?
I did vote for President Obama, but I was really voting against McCain as opposed to voting for Obama. And the reason being is that McCain announced that he was going to expand operations in Iraq, and I was on active duty at that time. And so, you know, McCain did not get the majority of the military vote in 2008. The majority of the military voted for Obama because of his stances on the war on terror and getting us out of Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right. Unfortunately, we're already running out of time, so let me get to two things. So you said we need to get our financial house in order. What qualifies you to help with that?
Well, I've got worldwide experience. I've got business experience. I've got experience in the military and experience working for the federal government. We have to realize that our elected officials, you don't run the government like you run a business, contrary to popular belief. You have to know how the government works, how to get things done in the government. I've done that in the military. I'm a person that gets things done. I don't like to talk about it. I figure out what needs to be done and I get it done, and that's what we need in Washington. This country's in trouble, and every time in our history where we've needed help is from ordinary Americans bringing common sense solutions, and that's what I offer in this race.
And so do you think that's why people, and we have only a minute left, do you think that's why people should say, okay, so he doesn't have political experience,
right,
but we're going to give him a shot there?
Exactly. I believe the career politicians are destroying this country, so the fact that I don't have that baggage with me actually makes me a more viable candidate, in my opinion.
And just the last question, how difficult has it been? You know, obviously the other candidates in the race have more recognition, much more money. How difficult has that been?
But ultimately, it's the message that wins the election. I have the best message. I may not have the most money, but I have the best message. And if you have the message, the money will follow. And the Republicans need to do things differently. We can no longer keep nominating the same type of candidates and expect a different result. And so that is what I offer. I offer a fresh face, a new beginning for the Republican Party, and that's exactly what we need. And we need someone that understands a winning strategy, and that is doing better in the cities in the state of Connecticut.
All right, Brian, we'll be watching, see how you're doing. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Lauren.
Thanks a lot. Well, to get elected, candidates would be remiss to ignore the power of the Latino vote. Up next, we talk about what they're looking for from our leaders.